In this video, I'm going to share a little bit about what a karam kriya consultation can look like, as well as how numbers can serve as guidance for our lives. To do this, we're going to use a made-up birthday and calculate that person's numbers and look at it through that lens. So let's start here. We'll say the 14th of the 7th, 2007. This is this individual's birthday. From here, we can calculate five main numbers into five main quadrants. So this first quadrant is mediated by these numbers 1 and 9, second by 2 and 8, third by 3 and 7, fourth by 4 and 6. The reason that these quadrants are associated with these numbers is because 1 and 9 equals 10, 2 and 8 equals 10, so on and so forth. And in the middle, we have 5 and 10. Okay, so let's just start by calculating this person's numbers. Before I do though, I will say that in a consultation, by calculating your numbers, we don't do a reading and just tell you this is what you are, but we use these numbers as guidance for conversation to inquire and to help get clear with who you are, and ideally so that you can tell me and become more clear about who you really are. And that's the purpose of this. For the sake of this video, it might seem a bit more like a reading, but the idea is that it would happen in conversation. Okay, so we would first start and look at these two numbers here, which would give us a 7 in this quadrant. 0 plus 7 is 7. We would then, for this quadrant here, 1 plus 4 equals 5. So they would have a 5 there. We then use the month in the 3 and 7. So there's another 7 there. And we use the whole year in this quadrant, which would be 2 plus 7, because there's zeros again, equaling 9. And then in the middle, we calculate the entire birthday, but we do it by adding each digit individually. So 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 7 is 12, plus 2 is 14, plus 7 is 21. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. These are the five primary numbers that someone's birth date can give. However, we can also discern a person's number to work on for each year. So if we use the current year, we would take that person's day and their month of birth, but use the current year, 2025. And then do the same thing by calculating that whole thing. We would get 1 plus 4 plus 7 is 12. 12 plus 9 is equaling 21 again, which equals 3. And we can also look at this person is 18 years of age. So taking this snapshot of an individual in a consultation or looking at your own numbers even in this way for yourself, we can discern that, okay, we say that every 18 years we go through a cycle where our energy, the function of our energy changes. And to say that just in the simplest way, we can discern that this person is in a state of transition. There is a new phase coming after one is in the process of ending. And so this might be bringing up certain phenomena for that person. So that's one thing to say. A useful way that we can also start is just to look at the number to work on for that year and look at some of the base qualities of that number. So number 3, the virtue is equality. It's also about being seen, and it's related to the fire element. As an individual or in a consultation, we might take these into consideration. And let's say that the theme of being seen comes up. And we might immediately go, okay, how does this relate to this individual's numbers? And we can obviously look and say that there is a three in the middle, three as the path number. And so we could simply say that being seen could be an integral thing to work on for this individual, given that it's as a part as of their path number. We could say that it's important for everybody, and that's because it is. What this is saying is that there might be an extra emphasis for this individual to really work on that capacity in this lifetime. And so then we could begin to go, okay, what could distort or hinder my capacity to be seen, to feel seen, to see myself, or to be seen, to feel seen but in my relationships, etc., etc. The number three is related to affirmation. It's related to I am statements. And what can happen in all of us is that we can have unconscious I am statements that are unhealthy, such as I am unworthy, I am useless, I am not needed, I am such and such a person based on such and such a story or things that I've done in the past. And these affirmations can be unconsciously running our lives. And therefore, we may feel unseen, but it's not because the person is our environment or the cosmos or our spirit is not necessarily actually seeing us, but because we're misinterpreting the messages. It's something that can happen. And then we can look at the other numbers in this person's domain and we can say, okay, there's these two number sevens here. And three and seven, like I said before, are linked because they're equal 10. So there's a bit more of an intimate relationship. Three is about being seen. Seven is more about seeing. And it's a little bit of like a play or a paradox, but how I see myself can also then dictate to how I feel seen. And then we can say that, okay, this kind of adds weight to this idea of needing to clear the distortions in how I see myself or clear the distortions of my I am statements. And that might be healthy for me, that might be important for me to work on. One simple way to work on it, although it's not the only way, but one simple way is to just discern a healthy I am statement, such as I am worthy, I am okay. Another one could be I am a creature of the divine with the right to breathe my spirit into being. It can even be like a sentence or a poem or something like that. And we can introduce that like a kind of drop or an essence into our mind that can begin to reshape and reformulate our affirmation of self. It's something that we can do, it's an action that we can take. Number three is also about action. So the affirmation is an action we can take, but we can also put that affirmation into action or affirm it through action. And actually, that's necessary. So if I'm going to affirm, I am a creature of the divine with the right to breathe my spirit into being, then I also need to take action that reflects that. Otherwise, it can be a bit meaningless and not sink in. And so if I have that idea in my mind, I might then go, okay, well, maybe I do some meditation, some breathing. I work on breathing my spirit in. Um, it might influence the way I dress, the way I hold myself and my posture. It might influence the places I go or decide not to go. Things like this in our everyday life that are actions we're taking that are based on this, what we perceive as a healthy affirmation, that can slowly begin to reshape our lives and reshape the way we see ourselves and the way we see life, which ultimately can culminate in a healthier feeling of being seen. And it might not require that the world around us changes, but we change our internal landscape. And this is really what the system of numerology is working on. It's not about controlling the outside, but changing our internal landscape and therefore the way we relate and see the world, that can allow for a healthier life, a healthier way of living. What that can then do is we can look at this person's, he has a nine here, and nine is related to spirit. And we can say that when this domain is healthier, what we've just been talking about, then my spirit or this person's spirit can more easily um, come into the body and be felt. We can, how I said before, that number three is related to the kind of shape we have. The shape we have is referencing the kind of persona, the idea of ourselves. And we need 3 points to make a shape, which is what we're discerning with this number three. And when our shape is kind of unhealthy, when our affirmation is unhealthy, it doesn't leave space for our spirit, which you can also say spirit is like our consciousness to come in. And so the healthier affirmation, like I said, I'm a creature of the divine with the right to breathe my spirit into being, that gives space for our spirit to come to us and to come and be with us. And then this can then also influence into the five. Five is the physical body. It's related to harmony and balance and true identity. Sorry, my writing is not very good. And we can say that through this process, which is inviting spirit to come in, our physical body, which is like our reflection of the container of our mind, in the sense that my mental affirmation is affecting into my nervous system and into my physical body, which affects my posture, how everything works, my organs, etc. Then we can say that when this affirmation of self is healthier, which allows for our spirit to come in, it can give harmony and balance to our physical body and can allow for the embodiment of our true self or our true identity. Which when the spirit comes into the body through the physical body, it can crystallize and come into focus and be felt. This our number five is our physical body, but also our nervous system, which allows us to feel ourselves, to feel our spirit, and this would culminate in I suppose, a healthier life trajectory. And so that's one way of looking at numbers and looking at a person's numbers. You could say that what we've just discussed is a universal story in terms of embodiment of spirit. Using an individual's numbers is a great way to discern how that universal story is being expressed through this person's unique life and finding the ways in which things might need to be worked on or enhanced, not enhanced, not the best word, but fostered, what kind of things could be healthy specifically for that individual to work on to come to this sense of wholeness. When we take the whole picture in, this is what the numbers are helping us to do, is to come to a space where we feel whole. And the purpose of their guidance is for that, to be able to understand life and to understand ourselves. Of course, in a consultation, there would be a lot more talking and questions and um, rather than me just going through this, but this is how numbers can um, help to guide conversation and to guide us in our lives. Okay, so yeah, thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And if you're interested in a consultation, then please reach out. This is a little small snippet of how a consultation can work, but each consultation is very unique and varied, and it's a conversation and non-invasive. So yes, thank you for listening.